Hello and welcome back to the workshop. We are going to be making 5 out of the 8 of the new series from Miniverse, the Make It Mini Spongebob Squarepants kits. I'm really excited. Thanks for joining me. I hope you stick around and watch all 5 of these kits being built. Let's get into this. Okay, this is everything that comes inside of the mini Bikini Bottom. We have first of all, we have the table, which looks like a regular wooden table. And when you turn it over, you see this little bit of gum stuck to the bottom of the table. That is hilarious. And it also comes with these little pegs that go into around the edge of the table. Kind of looks like a ship's wheel. Makes it look very nautical. I'll have to look back at some SpongeBob cartoons and see if the tables actually look like this. Of course, one just flew out of my hand onto the floor. There we go, our little table. And the table, by the way, fits right into this slot in the ball, and the ball looks like SpongeBob's house. Has a little bit of greenery for the top of the pineapple, and we've got the door and the window and the little periscope or whatever that's supposed to be. So when you want to display it, you can pop that table. Does fit in there, but yeah, I'm not gonna do that now. We're going to use our table. We also have the little aquarium, and we have a sticker that goes onto the back of the aquarium. That is our scenery to make it look like a little Bikini Bottom. Thus the name, Mini Bikini Bottom. Just try to put this evenly. Sticker placement is not the easiest thing. But there we go. So we have a little mini Bikini Bottom right there. They give us a bag of Bikini Bottom sand, and it's just some kinetic sand in there. I already opened that. And I don't think we're gonna need all of it. So let's just put some of it in and see how far this goes. I use my tweezers. Push it down in there. I don't want it to be perfectly flat. I want it to have a little bit of movement, kind of like a real aquarium would. So I want it a little bumpy like that. That looks like enough. They give us a little jellyfish. Put the jellyfish in there. Okay, so okay, so it doesn't really matter which way you put it. First the stand and then the ornaments, or put a little bit of sand and then a little more ornament. I don't know. Guess it doesn't really matter. Whatever you want to do. Take a look at this little jellyfish. That's so cute. Well, I'm gonna need different tweezers for this, I think. Something with more grip. Guess that's okay. And we get a little tiny pineapple. Home sweet pineapple, it says. That is so cute. And look, a little SpongeBob there in the corner. Okay, you gonna come out of there or what? Alright, there's our little SpongeBob pineapple. Okay, now we'll put our little SpongeBob pineapple in there. So I guess it doesn't really matter if you want to put the pineapple there or you want to put the pineapple there. The picture shows the pineapple on the right side, but then the instructions have it on the left side, so whatever side you want to put it on. And I do love this little bag that looks like a plastic bag that you would get a fish in. That's so cute. It's just all these little details that make it so fun. Now, I've never made one of these aquarium kits before, but I've watched people make them, and they're very prone to getting bubbles. However, it is an aquarium, so wouldn't you want bubbles in it? I mean, doesn't that make sense? Alright, well, let's see. Let's see how it goes. Open this up. So it does tell you to put a layer in, cure it in the sun. Well, it's a dark and cloudy, rainy day, so we will be using a UV light. So we'll just put a layer at the bottom first. Sorry, I'm not very centered here, am I? Guess the only thing I don't want are big air bubbles like stuck to the side, because that wouldn't look natural. That looks pretty good so far. I think I might push down the sand a little bit there though with a toothpick, just to get it away from the front of SpongeBob's house, because I want the house to be visible. I don't want sand in the way. Alright, let's just push some of this sand down from the front. Now it's kind of getting mixed in. Oops. And now I got it stuck to the side. I don't want sand stuck to the side. Alright, let's try that. I'm going to cure this. And we'll be right back. Okay, our first curing session is complete. Let's take a look here. Toothpick and see if it's, yep, it is hard as a rock. And I do see, I don't know what that is in the corner. That's a bubble. There is a few in there, but I'm okay with that because an aquarium has bubbles. Has air bubbles. That seems natural to me. All right, let's fill it all the way up to the top now. So make sure the resin water goes over the top of the pineapple. Don't want any pineapple sticking out of there. Okay, back in you go. I'll put you in for another 5 minutes. Okay, see you in 5 minutes. All right, our curing session is over. Let's take a look at it. Here is the completed mini Bikini Bottom. There are bubbles in there, but that's okay with me. I think it looks more authentic with little bubbles, except for the ones here at the bottom. I tried getting resin down in there, but maybe because I was mixing it around, was moving the sand around, I think probably was not the best idea. And some air got trapped underneath of the jellyfish. But it's okay. All in all, I mean, it definitely looks like an aquarium. I think without the bubbles, it doesn't look quite as like aquarium-like. So I'm okay with that. Yeah, I think that's really cute. Okay, let's make another one. This one is the kids meal. It says Krusty Krab kitty meal. So basically the only thing we're doing here is making the sandwich. And we're putting in the French fries. Alright, so let's pull everything out of here. Okay, we've got all of these things. We've got our Krusty Krab placemat that we'll put on the table to keep the table from getting resin on it. Okay, so inside of the ball we had the kitty meal box, and inside of the kitty meal box are two things. There is a juice box, 100% juice, that you can take the straw and put it in the hole. So a little juice box. And here's the French fry container. So we'll be putting our kelp fries, sorry, not French fries, kelp fries will go in there. Let me put this on over there. And we did take a look at the buns already. So let's take out our mini buns. And it looks like they give us two. The top of the bun. Looking at the instructions, we're just going to layer and put a circle of ketchup between each layer. And we want to make sure we put the ketchup circle around the edge so that the UV light can get to the resin. And we're going to be making 2 sandwiches, I think. Move this over here. All right, let's get into the frozen slider patties. So we've got 2 frozen slider patties. Oh, I forgot to put the little knobs on the edge of the table. Well, I guess I'll do that later. Okay, so we're gonna need the crusty ketchup. And this time we will need the nozzle because we need a very small, thin circle. So, let's see how this goes. Probably should have warmed up the resin. because it does not want to come out. I'm kind of scared to squeeze too hard. Doesn't want to go in a circle. Okay, I am going to take a toothpick and spread it to the edge a little bit. Because I feel like too much of that resin is going to be underneath the patty. And we definitely want the resin on the edge, not under the patty. Okay. I'm pressing down on it to kind of squish out the resin. Squishes it out to the edge. Next comes the cheese topping. Two slices of cheese, and they are like really thin. Now I feel like when we put this on, we really only want resin to be like peeking out of these two edges. Let me think about this. Thinking we probably don't need to put too much resin to hold the cheese on. Just these. Thinking maybe just like that, like not a whole circle. Okay, let's try that. So you can see how some of the resin is peeking out of the edge. That should work once we cure it. Next comes the lettuce. These are like very thin, rubbery pieces. And again, we want it to be on the edge. That's why they're showing us a circle. And I feel like it doesn't need to be a complete circle. I'm laying it on the side so the resin doesn't go fully back down into the bottom. Okay, here comes the lettuce. Let us have lettuce. All right, and next is the top bun. Okay, that should work. Squishing it down a little bit. It's not cured yet, so everything's sort of sliding all over the place. Here's the little face it's made with. Here's the paint job isn't perfect, but it's made with little green olives for the eyeballs. That's really cute. So I'm going to put a little resin. I don't know if we need to put resin on there. Actually, it doesn't show to stick that on before curing, or maybe it does. Oh yeah, you do have to use a little bit of resin to make it stay in there. This sandwich is sliding everywhere. Let's see, let's do a little dab here. I don't know how well this is gonna work. I feel like I probably should cure it before trying to stick this piece in. Oh, went in okay. Let's put some more resin here. I don't know how well this is going to work. Because, you know, once it's in there, it's not going to get the UV light. Okay, it's just sliding everywhere. The last one went in fine. This one is not. So here is our little sandwiches. Okay, in you go. I think it would work better if I put it on something clear. I'm gonna put it on one of these from another kit. That way the UV can get in from the bottom too. And nothing is gonna block it. Okay, well, I guess that's going there. Okay, that's my plan. Gonna put it in like that. So into the... Alright, we'll be back. While that is curing, let's take a look at these frozen kelp fries. Somehow we're going to have to get whatever's in here into here. Oh wow. They are very thin. Let's pour them out and see what's in there. Okay, so we gotta get them in there. I think I'm gonna use a different pair of tweezers. Finally, the last one. That took forever. And don't drop this or they're all gonna come back out. This is probably something you could have put a little resin in. It doesn't show you, but I feel like you could put a little ketchup in there and then cure it in there so they don't come out. That seems like a good idea. I am going to do that because I know that I'm going to drop this and all of those little fries are going to go everywhere. Now, if you didn't want to put the ketchup on there, you could probably have put some clear down in there, like put a layer of clear resin, cure it, put the fries in, and then put a little more and cure it, you know, like you would hold a flour in there. But I'm just gonna do it this way and hope that I don't ruin it. Just put that in for 3 minutes. Meanwhile, we can look at the little Krusty Krab kitty hamburgers. Let's see if they cured. Well, they did. Oh, nope, they're not totally cured because you can see they are sliding around. So I'm gonna stick it back in there for a little bit more time. And this one got a little resin stuck to the side, so I can chop that off. But this one's also still wiggly, so these are going back into the oven. While we're waiting for that, we might as well put the little pegs on the edges of the table. I like how these tables look like little ship wheels. It's a nice detail. And of course we have our gum. We gotta have the wad of gum on the bottom of the table. I'm gonna put the empty bags in here for now. And here it is, all completed. We have 2 little pipsqueak patties. It took about 10 minutes to cure in the UV light. It still seems like it's still a little bit wiggly. That's the problem with these kind of builds. The UV light can't get into the middle, so it doesn't really cure all the way around. This one was even harder to cure. I mean, I did put the resin on the edges, and this one's got a little bit of resin stuck on the outside edge. I can trim that off, but looks like a lot of ketchup all over the place. Feels pretty good and cured. And the fries, I did put a little bit of resin in there just to hold all the fries inside of there. And that's good and solid. I did keep the little crusty ketchup bottle, and I pulled off the sticker. You know, the sticker that comes on the back of it, the resin sticker. And on the back, underneath the sticker was this. Grade A, the Krusty Krab. So if you want to keep this bottle as a little prop, take that sticker off. That's really cute. Krusty ketchup. I like that. And here is everything that comes in the Krusty Krab kitty meal. We have 2 pipsqueak patties, a container of kelp fries, a box of juice, and a little kitty meal box to put it all in. The only thing that would have made this kit even better would be to have a teeny tiny toy in there. But other than that, that was pretty fun to make. Alright, I'm going to clean this up and open up the next one. Alright, in the next ball we have... These are the Chum on a Stick mold. So we'll be making the Chum Bucket popsicles. Let's pull everything out of there. So inside of this kit, we have a table with our wad of gum on the bottom, of course. And we'll put our little pegs on the ends of the table. Inside of this kit, we have a Chum Bucket with plankton splatted on the bottom of there. That's just so funny. We've got a can of raw chum, extra chunky. That will be our resin. We've got some dry chum. And the bag says, the official chum of Chum Bucket. And on the back we have chum is fun and caution. They give us 2 popsicle sticks and little chum popsicle molds. They give us a little spatula. And of course, a little pair of tweezers. Alright, let's take a look at the instructions. Okay, these are the instructions. So we're going to fill the chum bucket up with the kinetic sand chum in the bag. And we're going to use the raw chum in the can to create the molds. Let's see what's inside of here. Let me get a better angle here. Our little popsicle sticks. Those are so cute. They look like actual popsicle sticks. And our little rubbery mold. Alright, so looks like we're going to fill a mold with this first. I guess this is to get the right amount. Then it says to use this bucket to mix a little bit of resin, liquid resin, with the dry chum. But I really don't want to ruin my chum bucket. So I think I'm going to use a different container for this. I'm going to go get a little scrap of plastic that I've been saving. All right, we got some scrap packaging that we can use. Okay, I'm gonna use a little bit of resin to mix it. So I'm assuming you just want just enough to kind of make it so that it will harden when you cure it in the UV light. You don't really need a lot. And we'll see how this turns out. I feel like it needs just a little bit more. Okay, now we will fill the molds up. Now that our dry chum and our raw liquid chum have been combined, we'll put it back in the mold. And you can see from the other side if it's pressed in there. Well, these are chum popsicles, so I guess they don't have to look that pretty. I feel like I need a little more. I feel like it's not full enough. I'm gonna mix up just a little bit more. Once this dry chum kinetic sand mixes with the liquid, it kind of condenses. So I'm gonna mix up a little bit more. All right, that looks good. I don't need all of that, but we'll see. Oh yeah, that's way too much. Okay, let me take some of that off. All right, might be a little bit overfilled, but that's all right. Take a little bit off the top. Okay, now let's just clean it up, make sure it's all in there. Try to get as much in the mold as possible. It's okay if it's a little bit outside of the mold. I think it'll still look fine. And we have to stick the sticks through those little holes there. It's going into the resin. Now we'll just flatten it back down. Just need to tidy it up a little bit. Boy, does that look appetizing. I kind of like it looking chunky like that. Okay, that's about as good as that's gonna get. And let's put it in the UV. Gonna do it for 5 minutes, because that's a pretty thick mold. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this extra stuff, but I'm gonna keep that out of the way of the UV light. Let's see what's underneath of the sticker. Underneath of that sticker, it says caution. And the official chum of chum bucket. And it looks like we can fill the chum bucket up with the leftover dry chum. So let's get ahead and put the rest of it in there. Doesn't quite fill over the top like the picture. Wonder if we could put something in the bottom to raise it up. I like this can. It looks like a big giant can. Alright, I decided I'm gonna take the little bit of leftover popsicle chum and put it in a little silicone mixing bowl that I had from just a silicone mold kit. Just like a generic mold kit. So I'm gonna go ahead and put everything in here. Scraping that off. I'm going to clean off this little spatula so I can save it. My idea, if it works, is to use this as sort of the topper for that, kind of like a lid. Not sure if my idea is going to work or not, but we'll see. We'll see. It's about the right size. That looks about right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stick this in under the UV lights and cure this and make it hard. And the popsicles are finished. So let's take a look at the cured popsicles. They look delicious. Here's the back of them. It does have a little hole, despite me pressing and pressing and pressing. But I kind of like this side better. I'm gonna have to shave off the edges there. Here's the other one. That looks pretty good, actually. I probably could have put a little less in there to make it more flat, but I kind of like it looking like this. All right, I'm gonna grab some little scissors and trim this off. Maybe I'll use a little bit of sandpaper. Just use a little alcohol wipes and clean the spatula off. It is as good as new. Let's try this. And here are my 2 chum bucket popsicles. And let's see what this looked like. This is the extra little bit that I cured in this bowl. Yeah, it actually did. It's like solid. Let's see if it fits on top. Yeah, actually fits right on top of there. And it kind of acts like a lid. Perfect. And there is our completed chum bucket chum popsicles. They look delightful. And next we're going to make the Get a Job soup. Okay, I think I'm ready. I hope. Everything that comes in the Get a Job soup. We have the coral soup, great taste in a can. This is our resin. We have this can of peas, which is full of cute little peas. We have a bowl and spoon. We have a box of ABC pasta, so that has all of the letters in there. So you can spell out whatever you want, or you can go ahead and write Get a Job. We have our little newspaper, our job listings newspaper prop. We have a pair of tongs, as usual. We have the table edges for our little spokes for the edges of the table. And we have a cardboard box. And that does not say anything, but looks like a little label. And let's take a look at the instructions. So here is our Get a Job soup. There's the episode that this comes from, and all of the items that you get, and how to build it. So the first thing we do is mix the resin with the peas and stir it. Cure that for 5 to 10 minutes in the sun, or 5 minutes or so in a UV light. Once it is cured, then you have a surface that you can spell out whatever you want to spell out, and add a few more peas for decoration. And then they tell you you can put it in this box. Okay, that seems pretty simple. Okay, let's go ahead and build our soup. Before we start the soup, let me put the pegs on the table. And I found out there is a right and wrong way to put these on. You want to put the little square piece going down, because I looked back at some of my table edges and I see some of them are upside down. So I will have to fix those. And there is our completed table with the wad of gum, of course. Now we're ready to build. Okay, so let's take a look at the resin. I do love these little cans because they look like cans. I think that is such a cute detail. There we go, and that definitely looks like split pea soup. And we do want to leave a little bit so that we can glue our letters and extra peas to the top. Okay, it looks like there's still enough in there. And let's put some peas in there. Some for the top. those up. Looks yummy. I actually really like split pea soup. I'm gonna put a few more on the top here. I think everything sank to the bottom. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and cure that. I think if any bubbles rise to the surface, it won't really matter because we can hide them under the letters and the extra peas. All right, I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, and here it's all cured after about 5 minutes under the UV light. I like that the bowl is see-through, so you can see all of the peas in there, and cured pretty good. So next we are going to pick up the table that I knocked over. Then we're going to I'm gonna grab a toothpick, get that ready, and we're going to open the pasta and see what letters we want to use. I'm gonna go ahead and just spell out get a job like it shows on the picture, but you definitely could write anything else you wanted to with this pasta. Now I'm gonna reuse this toppings container so that the pasta does not go all over the table. And I have to pick it all up. Now comes the fun, well, it's still one on the table. Now comes the fun, ow! Now comes the fun part of finding all of the letters. And we definitely should use a pair of tweezers, some better tweezers. And a better pair of glasses because I can't, you know what? I really can't even distinguish one letter from the other here. So it looks like I may have to put them on the table because I can't really see the letters that well. But that's just me. I have bad eyes. Here's an E. I definitely need to get my eyes checked. Here's an A. There's a J. Backwards. A backwards J. Or is that an L? I can't tell. I don't know. You can't see a thing because everything is down below the camera. There. So I was looking at this letter. I think it's a J. There's an O. I see a B. And all we need is a G and a T. Is that a G? And now we need a T. There it is. Nice. Nope, you fooled me. Here it is. No? Okay. Looking for a T. All right. I guess I will have to dump some out because I just can't. Oh, a T popped out. Well, what do you know about that? Okay, very good. Get a job. Now we're going to need to put a little bit of the resin on the top. I think I want my bowl to look just like the picture. We're just gonna put a thin layer on the top of the soup. Scoop some of that out. I don't want it to be too thick because I think the letters will just sink into the resin. I don't know. Okay, I think we are ready to place the letters on there. Let's see, we want it to look like this. Okay, now before I cure it, does that look good? Okay, now we need a couple peas. Just grab a few out of here. Okay, how does that look? I think that looks pretty good. All right, we'll cure that one for about 2 minutes. All right, while that's curing, I put the lid back on the resin and the peas, and I put the pasta back in the bag with a little piece of tape so I can save it for a future project. And let's go ahead and put our little box together. And that goes up. Our box is slightly bent. Not quite sure what the episode was that this was in, and not exactly sure how to stage this. Did the soup come in this box? I don't know. All right, and here is our completed soup. Get a job, pea soup. And there's our completed Get a Job soup. Okay, I'm now ready to build my last kit that I have purchased. We had 5 out of the 8, and the last one is the Krabby Patty. Okay, as usual, we have our table. This one is the red, yellow, and blue. I think these are what you would see in the Krusty Krab, pretty sure. And it has the little pegs to go on the end to make it look nautical, like a captain's wheel or the ship's steering wheel. Let's go ahead and put those on. And of course, we've got our wad of gum on the bottom. So funny. Let's look at the instructions for this. Okay, here we have it, the Krabby Patty. And there's SpongeBob making his Krabby Patties with his spatula. We have all of these pieces in this set, in this kit, and including a message in a bottle. Is that the secret recipe? We'll open that at the end. And so this is another one of these hamburgers where you have to put the resin around the edge in a circle and hope that it will cure. They don't cure very well because the resin is sort of underneath layers. So these are hard to cure. But we're gonna make it the way they show it and see how it goes. So they're actually telling you to build everything before you cure it. So it's the bun, ketchup, the patty, mustard, pickles, ketchup, onions, mustard, lettuce, ketchup, cheese, mustard, tomato, ketchup, and then the top bun. So we'll follow the directions and do it the way they tell us. All right, so in here are the buns. Let's open this up, take a look. These are gonna be bigger buns than the kitty patties, the kitty Krabby Patties. What were they called? The kitty something. I already forgot. Oh, they were called the Pipsqueak Patties. Okay, had to look over there. So they give us 2. I don't know if we have enough to make 2 hamburgers, or sorry, Krabby Patties, but they do give us 2 buns. I think we're only gonna make 1, so I'll just put this one back in here. And the bag here says, now with more seaweed seeds. It's a cute detail. Here's our toppings. So we only have 1 tomato. Nope, I think there's 2 in there. Maybe there are enough ingredients to make 2 Krabby Patties. So when you mess one up, you can make another one. Yeah, we have enough ingredients to make 2 Krabby Patties. Here is our cheese and lettuce. And the cheese is a very, very thin, flexible piece of rubber. And we have a piece of lettuce. Very rubbery lettuce. Okay, let's put that back in here. And I suppose I should put my hamburger buns on this Krusty Krab placemat. Keep the table clean. let's look at our Krabby Patty, which I did look at when I opened it originally because I wanted to know what they look like. But they're very detailed. You can see the grill marks, and the texture looks just like a hamburger. All right, we're just gonna make one of these. I'm gonna put one back in there for now. And we have a little container of mustard, and we've got a little nozzle, which it will definitely want a nozzle for this project. Here is our ketchup. I'm curious to see what is underneath the resin sticker. See if there's anything underneath of there. And we have the Krusty Krab. That's cute. So if you want to keep your containers, take off those little labels to keep it as a prop. So yeah, that one also says the Krusty Krab. Okay, now we are ready. We are starting off with ketchup on the bottom bun. I probably should lay these on their side so the resin doesn't completely go to the bottom. Because these little containers are super hard to squeeze because they're just so small. Okay, now lay that on the side. Next, the patty goes on here. Squish it down a little bit to get the resin to go to the edge. That's my suggestion. I don't know about this. Okay, next comes mustard. Now, we're putting on pickles. So I feel like we don't really need a whole circle. We really just need it where the pickles are gonna be. And we want the pickles to peek out of the edge. So let's put some pickles on here. And make sure it's kind of squishing out. In theory, that works. In actuality, well, we'll see. Next, we're going to put a ring of ketchup over this, and we are going to be putting on onions. So again, I'm going to make sure there is plenty of resin on the edge where our onions are going to go. Well, these don't work that great. I need more precise tweezers. Okay, I hope I'm not messing this up. Alrighty, I kind of feel like we should cure this at this point and see how that goes. Yeah, I'm gonna stop and cure this at this stage. Alright, I'll be back in a second. Alright, so I cured that part at that stage, and as I suspected, it does not cure very well under the patty. The condiments cured fine because the UV light could get to them. The patty, wiggly. So I'm gonna have to put another little layer of ketchup. It did try to cure, and then I was moving it around, but you can see underneath, of course, it's just liquid because it's not getting any UV light. So one thing you could do is just cure it like this and then super glue it together. The other thing you could do is put some resin just around the edge here and then hold it under the light. So I'm going to try that first. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, well, resin like right here. And I'm gonna hold it under the UV for a few minutes. All right, that kind of worked, but I'm gonna not move it around. And I sort of botched the ketchup there, but I'll try to not, slide it around. It feels like it's mostly cured. I guess it'll be good enough for now. Next, we are going to put on the lettuce, then the cheese, then the tomato. And the lettuce goes on with mustard. So our next layer will be mustard. Let me look at the lettuce. Let's see, how is this gonna lay on there anyway? We need a lettuce and we need a cheese. So let's see, the lettuce is gonna lay kind of like that. I feel like if I hold it under the UV at an angle, it'll stick. I feel like that's the only way it's really gonna work. All right, I'm gonna try that. I want some of the mustard to be at the edge though, so you can see it. But I don't want to cover up the onions. All right, let's see here. Don't know about this. Okay, I'm gonna stick this under the UV light like that. I'm gonna hold it for a couple minutes. Okay, be back in a second. All right, we're back, and that did work. I feel like it's not super secure though, but it is somewhat glued to the onion. All right, now we're going to put on the cheese, and the cheese goes on top of a ring of ketchup. So again, I think I'm just going to put like kind of dots where the cheese, edges of the cheese are. It's really, really, really hard to get the ketchup out. Maybe I should move it away from the light. Oh, that's right, we got it right here. Okay, squishing it out so we've got ketchup coming out of the edges. And now we have the tomato. And that we need the mustard for. All right, let's see. It's kind of at an angle. All right, I'm gonna stick this in and cure this at this phase before I put the bun on the top. And we're back with this cured. That definitely is cured, so that's good. Seems like it's not sliding around anywhere. Our last step is to put on the bun at the top, and we're gonna use a circle of ketchup. I feel like maybe I'm gonna use both. I might use a little bit of ketchup and mustard. Definitely want it on the very, very edge of the tomato, because that UV light has to get to the resin, and it will not get to it underneath of the bun. So there it is. I'm gonna cook this in the under the UV light. Let me get rid of that bubble. Oh, it popped on its own. Good deal. I'll be back in a second. This is how I'm holding it. Just kind of rotating it around in the UV light. I feel like it's the only way to really get this to cure. And there it is, our finished Krabby Patty. Whoops. Made a mess out of this resin a little bit on that one side, but I think it's supposed to be kind of a messy sandwich. It looks actually pretty yummy, if you ask me. All right, let's put it here on our table. Guess we should keep the tray. I don't know, should we keep the tray or not? There's our spatula. We didn't really use the spatula. I guess it's just there for a prop. Here we got our ketchup and mustard. And now let's see what is inside of this message in a bottle. I'm dying to know. We are gonna need tweezers to get that out of there. I think I might mess it up because the string is gonna be stuck in there. Well, we'll see if we can fix it. But let's see what's in here first, if anything. Nice try, Plankton. Now I have to get that string out of there so I can put it back together. All right, I retied it, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it back down in there, though, because the knot is going to be too big. I'm squishing the paper. But I think it'll go back in there. The paper's a bit squished now, but that's okay. And it's back in. And there we go. That is the Krabby Patty. And there's enough ingredients to make one more patty. Although I didn't get enough onions. Only got one extra onion ring. But I think we can still make another one. I'd be curious to try to make one and have it sit out in the sun, like make all the layers and then sit it out in the sun and see if it would actually cure that way. Because my tip for making these Krabby Patties is to do it in layers and cure the resin in between 1 or 2 layers. Don't try to build the whole thing and then cure it, because it will just, the pieces will just slide all over the place. Thank you so much for joining me in the workshop today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love it if you would hit subscribe and join the workshop. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye!